Merry Christmas, everybody. And unfortunately, I don't really have any Christmas decoration on the board. I actually have a Christmas tree outside my room, but I am not going to bring it in because, it's outside. And I was thinking of bringing the board to the living room and next to the Christmas tree, and I'll do this video there. But unfortunately, that was a bit of a hassle, and the board kind of does not fit through the door. So, yeah, that's why I'm stuck doing this in my room. And also, I don't have a Christmas hat with me because I don't have one. And I actually tried to go to store and try to go to Target or Walgreens to buy a Christmas hat, but for whatever reason, they don't have it. Like, it used to be, it was so easy to buy Christmas hat. I usually always go to Walgreens to buy it, but they don't have it. They only have stockings, which is a bit weird. So, yeah, unfortunately, I do apologize that I'm not dressed in kind of like a Christmas kind of way, but let's talk about the Red Bulls in terms of the moving forward series. And we're getting to the point where we're talking about teams that got eliminated in the conference semifinal, and the Red Bulls was one of them. They got eliminated by Atlanta United, and unfortunately for the Red Bulls, it's another frustrating year. Despite the fact that they had the most point ever by an MLS team, they broke the record that Toronto set last year with 70 points. They have yet to get to the MLS Cup. Well, they did once, but this was supposed to be maybe the year that they finally go to MLS Cup and potentially get it done for the first time in their franchise history, but unfortunately they didn't. And in many ways, when I look at the Red Bulls, they're kind of like the Washington Capitals of MLS. You know the Capitals. I know last year they finally won the Stanley Cup, but they're always been a meme of the fact that they always fail whenever they go to the playoffs. And the Red Bulls, for the last 20 years in their franchise history, I believe ever since the turn of the century, they have only missed the playoffs twice. And yet, for some reason, they only have one MLS Cup appearance, which they lost that one to the Galaxy back in 2008. And they had numerous second round and conference final kind of exit. And actually, I wrote this wrong. It's not conference semifinal that they exit. They actually exit in the conference final and got eliminated by Atlanta United. But yeah, failure has been something a Red Bulls fan has been hearing for a very long time. But let's talk about their overall record. Like I said, it's the best ever team in MLS history with 22 wins, 5 draws, and 7 losses, and 71 points. That's 1 point more than what TFC got last year with 70 points. They have scored 62 goals this season, so despite the fact that they had the best record in the league and in the league history, they didn't score like a whole bunch of amount, like a record-breaking amount. I mean, 62 is still a lot. It's still above average as a team that scores goals this season, but it wasn't like Atlanta United where they scored like 70 or something goals like that, but they conceded 33 goals, and that is the best defensive record in the league, which is kind of odd because when you think about the Red Bulls, you wouldn't think that they have an absolute stellar defense, but this year they just have that. I mean, they had that stellar defense, a very young kind of defensive core that they had, and they only gave up 33 goals this season. And their goal differential is plus 29, which I believe that's the 8th best goal differential in league history. Yeah, it is. They had an incredible season, and besides the playoff failure, it's been an amazing season for the Red Bulls. And Supporter Shield winner. That's their 3rd Supporter Shield in 6 years, which I'll of course get to it when we talk about what went right. But unfortunately, the one thing that will always be on the mind of Red Bulls fan is that they got eliminated in the conference final. And this is probably something that if we talk about this 20 years down the line, and if the Red Bulls still has this record, there's always this doubt, and there's always this saying that, they have the best record and they have the most point ever by an MLS team, but they didn't win the cup. Toronto did. So yeah, that's gonna be the debate that a lot of people will have, whether or not if TFC from last season was the best ever team because they got the job done, or was it the Red Bulls that had the most point ever according to stats, but they didn't get the job done. Top goal scorer, Bradley Wright Phillips with 20 goals. Unsurprisingly, BWP is right up top of the list, and I think he has scored the third most goal this season by any players behind Zlatan and Joseph Martinez. Daniel Royer with 11 goals, Kaku with 6, Derek Etienne Jr. with 5, and Florian Vallet with 3 goals. Top assist leader, unsurprisingly, Kaku with 14 assists this season. Bradley Wright Phillips with 8 assists. Now, I always think of BWP as kind of a lethal goal scorer, but I didn't know that he was also a guy that is very good in terms of assisting goals. I mean, I didn't think he was a playmaker too, but yeah, he has 8 assists this season, and that is actually tied with Sean Davis with 8 assists. And I thought Sean Davis probably would be very close to Kaku's number, considering the fact that I think Davis is arguably one of the most important player on this team. I mean, a lot of people would say Tyler Adams is very important for this team, but Sean Davis equally very important for this team, and I'm not quite sure, did he actually get into the MLS starting 11? If he didn't, then that is a bit of a snub in terms of the best 11 this season, because he was that good. Mark Rush-Zitkowski with 7 assists. Tyler Adams with 7 assists. This number is kind of a little bit low because I thought Adams would be also right up there near Kaku number of the assist leader chart, but obviously only have 7 assists this season. And now talk about what went right for the Red Bulls. Well, they won the Supporters' Shield for the 3rd time in 6 years, and I guess you can say that is kind of a dynasty in terms of the regular season. I mean, obviously the Red Bulls, they're not considered a dynasty because of the fact that when you're a dynasty in MLS, you have to win some MLS Cup. And despite the fact that you have won some Supporters' Shield, the Supporters' Shield, it's not seen as a it's still a trophy, but it's not seen as a trophy that teams really want to win. Their ultimate goal is win MLS Cup, because when you win MLS Cup, they will, down the years, they will always remember that you won that year. Nobody's going to remember who won the Supporters' Shield 10 years down the line and who actually won it in 2018, because all people cared about is MLS Cup. MLS Cup is basically the ultimate prize. It's kind of like in hockey where nobody cares about teams that won the President's Trophy, and that at the end of the day, everybody will remember who won the Stanley Cup that year. Of course, they have the most point ever by any MLS team, as I mentioned, 71 points, just one more than TFC last season, that broke the record for the most point in MLS. And they have the best defense in the league with 33 goals conceded this season. What still need to improve for the Red Bulls? Well, obviously, they just cannot get over the hump. And again, it goes back to what I said about their playoff failure. It's been just, it feels like a Groundhog Day every single year for the Red Bulls, where just as you thought that maybe this is finally the year that we can go to MLS Cup and finally get the job done, oh no, we got eliminated in the conference semifinal or the conference final. This team just, it's hard to believe that this team that has gone to the playoffs almost every single year since their existence, and this was one of the teams that was the original, was kind of the original member of MLS back in 1996, that this is one of the teams that still have not won MLS Cup, despite the fact that this team was founded at the same year where the league was founded in 96. And then the third thing is that BWP, he cannot keep going missing in the playoffs. And this has been a huge problem for BWP, because this season, once again, he went completely missing in the playoffs, he not only did not score 1 goal this playoff, he scored 0 goal. Yeah, let me repeat that again. Bradley Wright Phillips have scored 0 goals in the playoffs. I mean, for a guy that scored 20 goals in the regular season, but to just score 0, and this team didn't even. It's not like this team got eliminated in the first round. This team got to the conference final, and their most important and their most lethal goal scored got 0 goals. I mean, and this is not the first time that this has happened for Bradley Wright Phillips. This happened back in 2012. This happened back in 2015, and the only good run that he had in the playoffs was back in 2014. And I think that was also the year where he tied Wando for that record for the most goal ever scored in a single season. But it's just mind-boggling how he can be so good in the regular season, but he just got missing in the playoffs. And in fact, in many ways, I really think BWP is kind of like the Clayton Kershaw of MLS. So you know how Clayton Kershaw, he is also known as one of the best pitcher in MLB, and he tends to do so well in the regular season, but when playoff time comes, he crumble. And that is exactly what we see from BWP. He just crumble when the playoffs come, when the big moment is there, and when they really need a goal scored, BWP just completely went missing there. And I guess maybe he was very unlucky to not at least get 1 goal. I know he came so close in that game against Columbus back in the first leg, where it was just a ridiculous save by Zach Steffen to keep him out. But still, at the end of the day, if you play 3 or 2 games in the playoffs, or actually not 2 games, 4 games in the playoffs, because the 2 round that they participated was a 2-legged affair in the conference semi and the final, but you cannot score any goals for your team, and you're the main goal scorer for this team. Yeah, that kind of explains why the Red Bulls have not got far. That is probably one of the reasons why they haven't got very far, and every single year it's just big disappointment year after year. So moving forward for the Red Bulls, obviously they're going to continue to produce high-end talent from the academy. The Red Bulls arguably has the best academy in MLS. I know FC Dallas fan will kind of argue with me on that, which, they have the right to do it because their academy is also as good as the Red Bulls. But the Red Bulls, they always tends to produce high-end talents and just some unknown guys from the academy that does well in MLS. Look at how many guys this season for the Red Bulls that play in the academy. Guys that you probably have never heard of in the world and in past time, and yet when they go to MLS, they scored their first goal ever in MLS. I mean, that it just shows you how this academy, alongside with FC Dallas and maybe RSL Academy, is some of the best academy and the best in terms of producing young and raw talent from the academy to the league. Obviously, I expect them to compete again next season. I know they lost Tyler Adams, but they still have most of their core back. I mean, they're going to get BWP back. They're going to get Tim Parker, Sean Davis back, and Aaron Long is going to be back with this team. So they didn't really lose anybody important besides Tyler Adams. And I know Tyler Adams is very important to them, but, I still think that they should still have enough in terms of competing next season, especially, as I aforementioned, the academy that they have. They'll find a way to replace Tyler Adams. And then the third thing is that can they finally win it? Like, this has been a question that Red Bulls fans been asking since 1996, is that can they finally break the duck and they finally reach to that promised land and able to, for the first time in franchise history, to win MLS Cup. So yeah, we're gonna find out how that's gonna be for them next season. Obviously, as I said, this should be one of the best team next season. Consider the year that they have last season. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the moving forward series for the Red Bulls. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this? If you're a Red Bulls fan, what do you think of this year? I know you're probably gonna say you're very disappointed that you didn't win MLS Cup, but hey, at least you had the best record and the most point ever by an MLS team. So Yeah, that's something. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. And Merry Christmas, everyone.